All right. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the 18th day of June, 2019. Well, if this is your first time here, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you click subscribe. I just love you to do that and come back and be part of our Tarot and Rune family. And if you're back again, thank you so much. It's nice to see everyone this morning. Well, we have a 9 energy today, so that's energies of completion, things sort of coming to an end, maybe. And that could be anything. It could mean a project. It could mean a thought pattern. It could mean any number of things. And so, trying to see how today goes and how that resonates, and see if you can find, instances where completion sort of factors in to your day. Start seeing the relationship between the numerology and the day itself, and see if you don't start to see patterns. I love numerology. I mean, you could really just live according to that and be just fine, really. but the energy of numbers. I mean, because basically, it's like if you wanna talk about what the creator is. I would say if the creator had a job, it would be a mathematician. Either that or maybe a physicist, but to be a physicist, you kind of have to be a mathematician. So I guess it all comes back to math, doesn't it? And specifically sacred geometry. So that's why I say the creator is a mathematician. Well, we've been looking at patterns, the last few weeks here with the cards and the runes that we're drawing, and it basically is sending us in the direction of a rejection of hate and division toward an embracing and remembrance of the shared aspects of life, seeking that experience over the hatred and division that has been plaguing us now for a while. So that's kind of been what's been going on here. So we'll see if today the same thing happens. I was up doing irrigation with my husband before I started, and the cottonwood's still flying. The fuzz is still flying out there. He came in from when we got up. He goes up and he changes the water. He sets it at night, and then he has to go up and change it. And when we get up in the morning, and so he was doing that. And he comes back and he said, "Oh my God, this cottonwood everywhere." This fuzz floating everywhere. I looked out the window, and sure enough, it looked like it was snowing outside. I thought we were almost done with it, but I think maybe another week of this. It only happens once in the year, but when the cottonwood sheds, it sheds fuzzy things, and it just looks like cotton everywhere. So you have to wet it down and mow it up, because you can't mow it dry. If you do that, then it goes everywhere in the air. Even still, it affects our ability to breathe. It's really caustic, So I'm all sniffy, and so in my lemon and hot water and lemon and honey that I do every morning here, I added some wild cherry bark tincture and some elderberry tincture as well, and so hopefully that'll help me get through the reading here without coughing too much. So apologies if I end up doing that, but I have all of my liquids here just in case. Even with being on putting nettle in my teas and having nettle tinctures and all of that, it's still not enough to overcome the cottonwood effect. If you have any, I'm so sorry. You know what I'm talking about, though, don't you? All right. Well, what is today? Today is a Tuesday, and so we're in the crone phase of the full moon. Last night, Mother Moon was just beautiful, and there was a little bit of cloud cover over it. We were looking at it with the binoculars, and oh my gosh, when there's a little bit of clouds going over it, it changes the color of it. It's just gorgeous, just gorgeous. But tonight, if you're going to work magics, you can work, in the crone phase, you can do bindings. You can do just about anything you want because you're in the crone phase. You know, the crone, once you get to your crone years, you know what I'm talking about. And if you're a witch, you really know what I'm talking about. It's like all of these rules that we live with. You get to your crone years and you're like, oh, please, get over yourselves. I'm going to do what I want. So the correspondences be damned, you know. So if it's a Saturday and it's Saturnian energy, then I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do something that's initiative. Never mind if Saturn wants me to slow down. I'm not going to do it. Yes, I think that the world will be changed not by younger women, but by older women. Because you get to the point, it's not that younger women don't have a voice. They do, they should, always. Once you get to our age, we're done. We really are. We've seen it all. We know the nonsense. We can see it coming a mile away. It will be the grandmas that save us. Right the ship. Oh, I think it's going to take a little more than that, don't you? It's going to take all of us collectively. Oops, almost dropped a couple. That's a new one. Usually I'll drop one. And the if you want to call it an old wives' tale, it's not. But the I don't know what else to call it though. But the thought, I'll say the thought is that if you drop a card, that's your card. So whenever I drop a card here, I always show it, and that way we'll just keep it in mind. Who knows, I might draw it. So far I have not done that though. Now in other just readings I do, like for the blog or whatever, that has happened where then I put it back in the deck, reshuffled a bunch of times, and there it is. So when that happens, you know, then you know that's definitely an important card and you need to pay attention to it. So kind of like when a major arcana card comes up, that's a soul archetype card and you want to pay attention. That's higher self going, hey, remember me? Remember you? I'm the you forgot about. Anyhow, let's draw the first card for today. Oh, well, we have the Seven of Swords. Things are a little out of balance here. You know, sevens indicate balance. They indicate shadow side of self versus spirit. They indicate divinity, magic. But I really think of it as balance and as the scales. And here it's definitely out of balance. We see a thief absconding with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 swords. 2 are left because they're left out, aren't they? Now, swords is about our intellect. So I've always looked upon this because I'm an author and a blogger. I look upon it as a theft of intellectual property. But it could be that if you look in the background here, let me put the cards down. If you look in the background there, you see the tents. Well, this is not a party that's going on. This is battle, and they've come back. The soldiers have come back, and they're in their tents. You can see the pennants, the banners flying on top of the tents, the flags. But they've taken their eye off the ball, haven't they? They're not aware that somebody is taking something from them. So this could be a situation where maybe you're in a job and maybe there's a little conflict going on, you know, but we don't know yet. We need to have more cards basically, but because we don't know why he's doing this. You know, this could be a guy who's from the opposite side. He's not dressed in battle attire. So, you know, it could be maybe this group of soldiers is coming to attack a town. So it looks like somebody from a town. And so maybe he's just trying to get another advantage over these people that are trying to oppress them. And so you can kind of look at this 2 different ways. You can look at somebody who's stealing, or someone who, you know, maybe ideas or strategy, maybe. Or you can look at it as someone who's just trying to level the playing field, because they don't have the same level of advantage as do those soldiers. They don't have the wealth behind them. They don't have, the equipment behind them, the weapons behind them. And so maybe the townspeople just don't have any other way but to sneak in and take what they can and try to reduce their effectiveness against them. So there's various ways you can look at this. But basically, it's like trying to level the playing field a little bit, I think. And so that's where the element of balance with the 7 would come into play, I think. But I have to tell you, my immediate reaction is, oh, theft of intellectual property. Then you have to stop and think, no. Well, I mean, it could be, but likely not. Let's do another card so we can have something to interact with here. I like this to be very random. I could lay 3 cards or 4 cards out, but I don't want to do that. I want it to be really random. And so I take the 13th card each time, and you don't have to do that. That's just my process. Well, here we have the Page of Wands. So new creative thought, new will, new activity, new manifestation. He's looking toward the future, isn't he? This page. Pages, sometimes princesses in other decks, sometimes daughters in other decks. They're about messages, oftentimes, something new. So whereas the Page of Swords might be a message about something, this could mean simply something new on the horizon, something new he's wanting to create or manifest, something new is about to happen. If it had a number attached to it, it would be 11, and so that's the master number for illumination. So that's where a lot of but they don't usually attach numbers to them, but that's what you're seeing there, with the whole idea of the page, is that there's a message that we're to know about. I'm going to check here, but this is about justice, allowing non-resistance, unfettered joy. That's the one from the Thoth Tarot. Oh, that's just a gorgeous card. Transformation, spiritual breakthrough. But basically, again, like I said in the beginning, it's just about an opportunity. Something new is about to happen. So maybe with the theft of the intellectual property or leveling the playing field, from there now we have a new opportunity. So maybe there was just some repression going on. You can't feel too sorry for the folks in the tents, because they were the ones that would move through an area and rape and pillage and plunder and do all that they did. They weren't necessarily people that were there to protect the towns. They were there to take from the towns. And depending upon who the king was typically a relative of mine. Unfortunately, I come from that background. I had no idea. Okay, I went looking for witches on my mother's side, and I could only get back to maybe my grandmother's parents, and I can't get back any further. I know it's there. I just can't get back any further. So I don't know. But she was born in Ireland, and the kinds of things that she would say to me, and I had very limited contact with her growing up, but the things that she did say to me and that my mother would share indicated an awareness of magic. So I don't know. They were Roman Catholic, and Roman Catholics in Ireland and pagans in Ireland, there was an easy, familiarity there. So the Roman Catholics there, they were they believed in the natural world. So they might be Roman Catholic, but they didn't give up the pagan roots. They didn't. I don't believe that. From what I've read historically, it doesn't seem so. So I just felt that that's where it would be. It wasn't. It was on my paternal side, and there, the royalty and the Merovingians and Bran the Blessed, the Druidry, all of that, all the way back to the Blessed Virgin being a cousin, and Mary Magdalene a cousin, I believe, either a cousin or an aunt. I don't remember, but I'm in all these lines, and because once you get into the royal part of it, well, then they all married, intermarried, so you're going to be everywhere. And I was shocked. But of course, the witches alone, my 14th great grandmother, Lady Janet Douglas of Glamis Castle, she was ordered burned by King James, not the King James who ordered the North Berwick witch trials, because he would have been either a grandson or a great grandson of this particular King James. King James the first, or no, the fourth, was the one who ordered my great grandmother burned for witchcraft. And now there's a statue in that town of her, and she's said to haunt the clock tower, which makes perfect sense. I'm sure that's exactly what she's doing. It's what I would do. So But anyway, so I went looking for it, and I found the mother lode, but not in the direction I thought I would. So in any event, it's why I'm not particularly fond of the court cards, especially the kings, because, one murdered my grandmother, so my great grandmother. Plus, they established, the patriarchy, basically, because I'm related to all of the patriarchs of the Bible, and I'm related to, the whole. I mean, it must be why I'm a beekeeper, because the Merovingians, their symbol was the bee, These things that I just naturally gravitate to, you can find. Well, you have to wonder, since it's all, we're everywhere at once, we're experiencing this life everywhere at once, so the idea of the past really doesn't exist. So the idea of past lives, not so much, it's everything at the same time. Well, but you just have that feeling of it, right? But you wonder, when you start looking at your ancestry and you see people that are known, and you can go to Wikipedia and look it all up, you start to look at their lives and you see the parallels in your own. And if you never knew about it, right? So it's not like you're making the choice to emulate that. It's just there. Well, how much of that then is just a remembrance of that experience, and we're just incorporating it into this particular incarnation? So I've discovered strange names in my ancestry, people that I know, that I've done business with, that I've known, for a long, long time, odd names, and they're in my ancestry. So you wonder, is that part of your soul group, So it's an interesting thing to think about when you go off, because I've gone all the way back to Adam. And then if you add in, Gerald Clark has a wonderful ancestry that includes he did a lineage, and you can buy it. I think he charges like $5 or something for it. I bought it, and it shows the Anunnaki folks that were here at the time. And so at some point we might have to add to that when we discover that it was actually more than just them, but that interfered in our genetic development. But he shows the connection between all of that, and lists all of those folks, and he gets that from the other texts that aren't allowed out in the world so much, and he did a really good job on it. So I highly recommend you check that out. You can go to his website, and I think it's Seventh Planet something or other. I'm not sure. Look, just Google Gerald Clark, and you'll find him. He's an interesting guy, and it's kind of interesting to look at that whole lineage. And he really breaks it down. So, of course, I added all of it to mine, So, anyhow, there's Titans in there, and there's Olympians, and I know there's a nymph in there. So the Oceanids are in there, I've really expanded it into the other kinds of species that were here. So it's kind of, eventually I'll download the whole thing and put it into a book. They let you do that. You can have that done. I don't know how much it costs, but Ancestry will do that. Ancestry.com will do that for you, and they can put your whole ancestry in a book. But I need to get it all cleaned up and before I do that. So, At some point, I'll probably do that, and it'll all be in there. It's part of my legacy. Anyhow, that's why I don't like the kings and the tarot. They just rub me the wrong way, you know? Well, yeah, here we have the moon. Oops. Oh, I knocked some cards on the floor. The Fool, Justice, and the Five. Is it the Five? Yeah, the Five of Pentacles. I knocked those on the floor. So remember those, just in case. I don't know if I'm going to do a fourth card, though. So I drew the moon. And the moon is about, again, you see the two pillars, you see the light dog and the dark dog, so it's dark and light, balance, deception, inner work, the inner path we take. We see rejuvenation with the lobster coming out of the water. Lobsters shed their skin, so that's the idea of rebirth. The moon's not happy, you know, with the dogs barking at it. But again, the moon can be about deception. It feels kind of like it's involved with the Seven of Swords. It's the 18th card of the major arcana, so it's a 9 energy like today. So I'm wondering if we need to move the page first. If we're talking about, so we can either look at it first and it's telling you to take the opportunity, which we do in the 7, or it's talking about the opportunity taken, or to take what we gained here, where we're leveling the playing field, and then use that as an opportunity to break through whatever deception is going on. That feels right. Okay, that feels right. I'm going to leave it as it is. Sometimes I've got to look at it and move them around and see what actually, because what I feel when I'm feeling that, I feel like a puzzle piece is all coming into place, all just settling in. And so that's what I feel when I'm looking at this. Like everything's settling in. Excuse me. I breathed in way too much cottonwood. Fuzz, it's just awful. I mean, they're all seeds basically for cottonwood trees. I pull tons out constantly. But that's what we have here. So we have 9 and 7 is 16. So that's a 7 energy. So that's again balance of dark and light. You can see though, where if this guy is actually from the town in the 7 of Swords, if he's actually a townsperson, because you see he's either dressed in disguise or he's not someone of means. And it just feels like he's leveling the playing field with the oppressors. In order to gain an opportunity, and here you have deception. And again, bringing things into balance, which is essentially what he's doing in the 7. So maybe because it's also a 9 energy, there's some completion here. I don't think I want to do another card. Let's draw a rune. We're going to cut through the mystery. We're going to cut through the deception with the moon. Whatever the people are doing, the oppressors in the tents are doing, we're going to take an opportunity that isn't given to us, but that we're taking. We're going to take an opportunity. We're going to take back control. We have Birkenau, which again is the 18th rune of the Elder Futhark, aligning with today, was aligning with the moon. If you were to look at the Page of Wands as an 11, you would put 11 with the 7, and that's 18. So we have a sense of completion today where we're taking back control maybe from some oppressors, and we're going to stand in our own power with the Page of Wands and explore new opportunities with the power that we've taken back. We're going to balance the deception around us. We're going to reveal. The moon reveals. It can also veil, but it can also reveal what's inside us. So you could then interpret that to be whatever advantage that you're trying to take here in the Seven of Swords, whatever strategy, whatever plans that they have. Perhaps we're figuring some of it out. So in a sense, some truth that gets some inner truth gets revealed. Maybe what's at the heart of the matter, or if not at the heart of the matter, what's at the underlying, what are the underlying plans that they plan to do to us, kind of thing. What is the enemy? What is the other side going to do to us? The people that want to come and hurt us, what are they trying to do? And so the moon suggests that there's things that are hidden here that need to be revealed. But it comes from inside us, you know. It's not necessarily external stuff. It's the stuff that's hidden. It's the stuff that's in our mind and in our hearts. It's the things we don't tell people, you know, the things that we plan that nobody knows about until it's too late to stop it. Well, here in the Seven of Swords, what he's done is he's taken back some of that advantage that the other oppressive side had. And he has to be a little cagey about it. He's got to do it when they're not looking, because they lack the advantage to do anything about it if they're caught. But in the process of doing that, in the process of going beyond the normal way of doing things, thinking outside the box, basically, looking for other strategies, instead of, you know, just sitting around and waiting for something to happen, we've taken the bull by the horns and we've created a new opportunity for ourselves with the Page of Wands. And we're not willing to allow the deception that's been going on to go on any longer, and that we need a rebirth and a new path, no matter how difficult it is. You see, Birkenau is the rune of, well, it's a birth, childbirth, a family, new beginnings, bringing things to fruition. So again, I think that we're in this area of change and a shift in perception where we're not just going to sit back and allow the powers that be to say and define for us what life is going to be like. We don't like what's happening, so we're going to take back our power. We're going to use a little bit different strategy. Maybe we're going to be a little stealthy about it because we have to. Don't have a choice. We don't have the same level of power someone else has. And so we have to do things in a way that maybe are just a little bit, you know, crafty and stealthy. And that's what he did in the Seven of Swords, to try to balance the power here a little bit better, to level the playing field, if you will. Because if we don't do that, how do we go forward together? How do we break loose and free of the oppression that's happening? How do we do that if we don't use a little bit of strategy and think out of the box, you know, think outside the box? Let's do a geomancy rune. We're doing pretty well on time here. So I've got 2 dots for fire, 1 for air, 2 for water, and 2 for earth. And so I'm pretty sure that's Rubeus. Is that Rubeus? Yeah. So Rubeus, given as a Tuesday, it doesn't actually surprise me. Tuesday is filled with Mars energy, so is Rubeus. Rubeus, though, can be considered evil. And so I think that Rubeus becomes the cautionary tale in all of this, that what we're going to say here is on our path to creating something new and to be in harmony with other people, we need to be aware of what's happening here in the tents by the oppressors. We need to be aware of what's hidden again in this need to balance the polarity within, and also the polarity between all of us, without. And that's another aspect of the moon card. And then Birkenau, is about Mother Earth and about Gaia energy and about bringing everything into balance so that we can grow and create and become. Birkenau, in a sense, is the rune of becoming. And it's really, let me draw this out so that you see. I'll show you the rubeus here. I didn't draw that out. This is rubeus. Now, but I want to show you something. I'll just kind of box that off. Here's Birkenau. I like to show you guys the different runes that actually comprise some of these. And Birkenau, really is a bind rune. First we have Laguz, which is allowing, moving around problems. We also see Kinaz 3 times. Can you see that? In the middle, Kinaz is essentially the torch, and it's illumination. It's illuminating truth. Well, this explains what our fundamental truth is, isn't it? Both inner and outer, because you see it reversed upper and lower there, and it's turning the light inward. In order to be in Birkenau with other people, the light has to be turned inward. Right now, as we're in division with people, the light is not anywhere. It's not even shining. And so that's another issue with Birkenau. Let me see if I can see another one. Oh. Vunyo, sort of forward and reversed. Well, I drew it weird down on the bottom, but the P upside down and right side up. That's Vunyo, that's joy, fellowship. So you can see all of the energies that create Birkenau. And then you have the outlier rubeus. We can take that passion, we can take the passion of rubeus and we can use it to realign in the collective consciousness that we all are part of. And that's really the direction that we're all headed. Clearly, there's a lot of deception going on, a lot of lying going on, a lot of manipulation going on. And so we need a different strategy. We have to think outside the box, and we have to level that playing field. You could look at this as I need more information and I'm going to get it. One way or another, I'm going to get that information that I need to make the decision I need to make, to manifest the new opportunities that I need, and to be able to see with full clarity the hidden things that are happening. Well, that's interesting. Well, I'm comfortable with the order. And I really think that Rubeus is just saying, use the passion wisely, reminding us that there is evil afoot, and that evil is going to try to stop and prevent everything that the good is trying to accomplish. And so I would say that we're still on the same path of coming back together and rejecting the hate and division that's being promoted every second of our lives these days. It's just, isn't it? It's draining. It's draining to listen to it and to watch it. Just to watch how the migrants are being treated. You can think what you want to about lots of people trying to come into our country. It does have to be managed. I mean, it does. The notion of open borders, it's a lovely one, but it's not anything that we need to really have in this country. Open borders as far as allowing people to come in, sure, but there has to be a management of resources. They have to be able to have a job and be able to take care of themselves when they get here. It's why they're coming here. So they have a new life. It's what they want anyway. So sure, it has to be managed, but there's a lot of poverty and a lot of crime and a lot of danger, and they're fleeing that. And so I don't know. There's got to be a collective solution here, and we have to find it. But what we cannot do is what we're doing to children and families when they get here. And I think that just watching, if you just watch that alone and you follow that story alone, it's exhausting. And it's like, my God, do we really have to, is this who we are? That we can have zero compassion and this is the solution that we have? There's got to be other solutions. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they end up landing here, but there has to be a solution that doesn't put people in cages and doesn't allow people to die. So I find just so much anymore just exhausting. And I know other people I know, they feel the same way. It's hard to live in hate. It's stressful. I don't think people, even who live that way, who express themselves that way, really understand what they look like to others when they're doing it. This can't be a good mindset, even for them. No matter how self-righteous they may feel, there's an agitation within them that if this were truly righteous beliefs, the agitation wouldn't be there. The need to be vulgar, the need to be hurtful, the need to taunt and harass and hurt people wouldn't be there if these were righteous views. It's an ugliness that needs to go away. We need to reject it. And that's what I think the cards and the runes are telling us, that it's just time to wake up and that this is not who we are. And we need to just lay down the arms, basically, whatever they are, and come back together in unified consciousness with everyone. So anyhow, thank you so much for coming by. Let's see, this is Tuesday, so we'll be back again tomorrow. If you haven't been here before, I just do this Monday through Thursday, and I take Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off. So in any event, check out the blog. The Capricorn moon post is up, and I think Aquarius is next. So that'll go up, I think, either tonight or tomorrow. But just kind of pay attention to the numerology, find some completion, find some examples of completion, start seeing the synchronicities in life that really they're there. And just like the 18s that we had today, 18 with Birkenau, 18 with the moon, and again, the page of wands and the 7 of swords, 18 there, completion, completion, completion. So I think that's what we have. Add the nines together, you have 27, which reduces to 9, completion. So pay attention to what it is, and even keep a journal if you want to. I've done that and do that still. And I just like to jot down, little things that happen that like, oh yeah, It's nice to look back on it. You start to see patterns that way. Life is filled with them. You should pay attention to it all, really. So anyhow, we'll see you tomorrow. Get out in the garden, walk around in the lawn in your bare feet, do some earthing. Connect with Mother Earth today. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.